because of you, we know who we are. And now, God, as I stand here as your representative, let me get out of the way and step in and have your way. And let the Spirit move so that someone will be blessed with this word today. For these blessings and all blessings in the love and light of Christ that dwell in each one of us, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
To our Facebook family and the Bedside Baptists,
Yeah.
we welcome you and glad to see you here with us. Let me get to this part. When you look at this story and you look at the life of Moses, remember Moses was put in a basket and floated downriver, and he ends up living in the king's mansion in royalty. And he was doing okay. But sometimes destiny comes in and can change your life. One event can flip everything in your life. Moses' life changed when his mother put him in a basket. He could have ended up with a farmer. He could have been eaten alive, but he ends up living in the palace in royalty. That's one event that changed his life. So many of us have events. Anybody have an event that changed your life?
Amen.
And so here he is living in royalty, and then because of an event, his life gets changed again, and he finds himself in that place of nothingness. Sometimes God calls you to do something, and you have to be careful about your destiny. Because destiny will put you in some strange places. And the place of I don't know is a place of being uncomfortable. And so here Moses is finding himself, and God has called him to do something. And Moses is, now mind you, Moses is talking to God, and he's wrestling with this. Destiny will separate you from your family. Destiny will, because he says, what if they don't believe me? He's talking about his own family too. What if they don't believe me? I'm telling them that God told me to do this. What if they don't believe me? What if your friends don't believe you when you say, God told me to do this? Anybody been there? Yeah. Oh, God told me to do this. And people go, what does God sound like? When did God talk? What time was it? Are you sure you weren't tripping? Yeah. And so God will separate you. The destiny. Destiny, I've learned that destiny is not a democracy. You don't even have a say in it. Trust me. I'm standing here as a pastor of a church. It was not my vision to be a pastor of a church 20-some years ago. But destiny called me into it, and it happened so quick. I didn't even know what happened. Sometimes you have to be careful of who you tell your vision to when destiny calls you. Because it happens on the inside of you. And if you open yourself up and tell it to the wrong person, it gets infected. How does the vision and your destiny get infected? Because people start creating doubts in your mind. Who do you think you are to do that? How do you know God called you to do that? I don't think you're equipped to do that. And all of those thoughts start coming up, and now you're battling the thought. Instead of doing what God called you to do, you get off course because somebody has infected the vision that God gave. The next thing destiny will do is move you from that safe place to that uncomfortable place. When you follow destiny, you have to follow the one who gave you the vision. You have to follow the one who called you, and it's not your friends. I have found myself at times in places of, I don't know. And I have to sometimes pull away from everybody so that I can be clear that God has called me to do this. Because sometimes, we get up in our own head. And here's one of the things that we got to be careful of. Sometimes, we get the degrees and we get a little education and, and we think that we can do it all on our own and that I can do this. And if you do it long enough, you will find you cannot do it without God. Because if you're trying to do a destiny, work your destiny, which God placed in you without God, you can't go very far. It would be great to know what the outcome is going to be. It would be great if you knew that next year exactly what everything was going to be. It would be great if you knew that I can get this job and on this day this will happen and on this day I will get this raise and on this day I'll be promoted. It would be great. It would be great to know I'm going to buy this house and it will look exactly like this. It will go through. And matter of fact, I'm going to have this much money. Anybody have life plans? And you lay out life plans and you decide on this day I'm going to make this much money and when I'm this old I'm going to make that much money. I had that plan too. It'd be great if you knew the outcome. But when God called you, you can't be afraid, and sometimes you got to be willing to be a little bit ignorant. I know what word I use. Because it makes you trust God even more. When you can, that puts you in a place to ask God why. Here Moses is called, and he has nothing in his hand to fight with. And God is telling him, and he feels, first of all, he feels inequipped. He feels inequipped. Have you ever felt like God has called you to do something, but it's like, well, how am I going to get the job done? I don't have enough money to do that. Or I don't have the connections to do that. How am I going to get this job done? But God, when God calls you, he will take you with that nothingness. And see, God said, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? Throw it down. Here you're in a place of already feeling ill-equipped. And then God says, what's in your hand? And you go, $3. And he says, throw it down. Now pick it up. Here's where we get off course. God told him to pick up exactly what he threw down. Sometimes we get afraid and we won't let it go. Sometimes we get afraid and because we throw it down and something else looks bigger over here and we go touch this over here, now we have polluted what God has told you to do. God told you to throw it down and pick it up so that God can demonstrate his power in you. But you look up and think, I don't have anything in my hands. I don't have anything. What you have to understand, God's ways are not your ways. Oh, anybody ever been to the end of the rope before? Amen. I had to tell somebody the other day, last night he called me. I said, I've known you for 2 years. Can you tell me one time that God has not come through for you? Tell me one time. I've worked with you through every struggle that you've had. Tell me one time that God did not come through for you. Now see, sometimes we got to be ready because it may not come the way we want it to come. Amen? Amen. Here Moses is talking directly to God and wondering how he's going to get this thing done. God has called him. When God calls you, you got to have confidence. You got to have some confidence. Now imagine he's talking directly to God. He's hearing God's voice directly. This is a one-on-one conversation. That seemed like he would have had enough. You know, imagine if God was talking to me, I'd be in front of you like, what? You know? But Moses was struggling with what God was telling him to do, not understanding that God has already equipped him with everything that he needs. Think about it. Your hands have got you through every struggle, every conflict, everything that's been placed in your life. Your hands have got you through it. And sometimes you need to just look back in your life and think about where your hands have brought you through. Yes. Through your hands, God equipped you and you didn't even know it. And every struggle that came and every storm that came up in your life, God had already equipped your hands to get you through that struggle. And by coming through that struggle, God says, look at it. I'll bring out the greatness in you. Do you know that's when your greatness show up? Amen. Have you ever been in a storm and you didn't know how, but all of a sudden you found the strength to keep on going, and all of a sudden you've been able to do things and answer things that you hadn't done before? Amen. The storm and that struggle was only to bring out your greatness so that you can demonstrate and even see for yourself, God is with me even in this struggle. Moses didn't think he was ready to face this struggle. Moses didn't think he was ready to face this struggle. But with God, you see, but with God, God will take your nothingness and turn it into something. Amen. But with God, he'll come. You ever been in the midnight hours in those dark places and you don't even know how you're going to get out, and you call God and you trust God, and God will take you out of the darkness into the light? But with God, then you understand, through Christ, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. God asks him, what's in your hand? Throw it down and pick it up. But we get off course often. But God will take you in those places of struggle. God will take you in that place. And so here Moses has gone from being put in a basket, pushed down river, end up in a palace. Because of situation, destiny called him to get out of that palace. He ends up here, and now he's leading people. And he's in the beginning of this, and he's like, I'm not equipped. Some of you have been called to do things, and you're thinking, I'm not equipped. What am I supposed to do? And God is asking you the same question. What's in your hand? Now, here's what's interesting to me. God already knew what was in his hand. When I read that, I said, why would God ask him what was in his hand? God already knew. God was asking him what's in your hand so that Moses would understand what's in his hand. So when you're in those struggle places, when you're in that place where you don't know, God is saying, what's in your hand? I've already equipped you with all that you need. What's in your hand? Do you understand that even in your hand is connected to every organ in your body? Everything is connected in your hands. What's in your hands? Use what I gave you. Why are you afraid when I'm with you? Why are you afraid to follow your destiny? And when you let me say this: destiny is not for wimps. Amen. You got to have some strength to follow your destiny, because it will make you walk out of the safety places. It will make you leave home. It will make you move across country. It will make you do things that you had no intentions of doing. Amen. That's when destiny is calling. Anybody ever had something that drove you so hard that you didn't have a choice but to do it? I got to do this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I just got to do this. You know, as I got called into this ministry, I just felt I have to do this. And I know I could have made a whole lot more money doing other things that I was doing. But destiny called me into this. So it wasn't about the money. It was about following what God has called me to do. And so when God calls you to do something, don't worry about Am I equipped? Don't worry about what people are going to say about me. Guess what? People are going to talk about you anyway. Amen. If you're successful, they're going to talk about you. If you're not successful, they're going to talk about you. So give them something to talk about. Amen. Oh, yes. Give them something to talk about. Matter of fact, even turn it up even brighter. Turn it up even more so that people can understand that you are following your destiny. You can't tell your destiny to everybody. Amen. You really can't. For those people who don't understand what destiny is, because they have never taken the chance to trust God, and then they're looking at you because they think they know you. They only know the outside you. Amen. They don't know the inside you. Amen. There's a difference. People judge you every day because they look at you. Yeah. They judge you every day. Oh, she's wearing this. Oh, her hair's that color. Oh, why he have on that? Oh, she thinks she's cute. Oh, people judge you every day by what you look like or how you sound. I was with someone the other day and I laughed because somebody said to me, he thinks he's that smart. I said, well, the brother does have a PhD. He does, really, he does. He does? Yeah, he does. In fact, why don't you go say that to his face? Okay. You see? But the beauty of it is, this brother has a PhD and he never tells you. He never tells you. And I asked him one time, I said, hey, Doc. And then we talked about it. He said, hey, Doc. And we talked about not throwing our titles around it. When I need to throw it, I throw it. I got a doctorate in divinity. Come on, man. One time somebody looked at my title and they said, DD. And they stopped and said, Doctor of Divinity? I said, yeah. Oh, when did you get that? I said, it's been in your face for the last, 10 years. But when God called you to do something, are you willing to follow your destiny? Here Moses is saying, and Moses started making excuses. But God, I don't speak well. God was getting frustrated. If you read it, it says God was getting frustrated. And he said, well, take him. Let him talk for you. Moses was beginning to make excuses. And often when your destiny comes, you begin to make excuses why you can't do it. Well, God, I didn't finish my degree. I didn't ask you that. Well, God, I got to pay these bills. I didn't ask you that. Well, God, is it going to be enough money for you? I didn't ask you that. God, we make excuses why we can't. Well, God, as soon as I buy a new suit or new dress, a new pair of shoes, God didn't ask you that. Only God said, are you willing to go where I tell you to go? Are you willing to open your mouth when I tell you to open your mouth? Are you willing sometimes to shut up? Amen. Because it's not time for you to speak. Your destiny will put you in some uncomfortable places. Your destiny will put you in some places that you're unfamiliar with. Your destiny will separate you from friends and family. But if you're willing to trust God in following your destiny, look what happened with Moses. Moses goes from that place of, like I said, luxury, where he could have stayed, to having nothing. And God is calling him in his nothingness. Amen. Anybody in that place of nothingness? That's when God calls you. God says, let everything else go. Trust me. And it feels strange to say, I'm going to let go of everything and trust God. Yes, let go of everything and trust God. And then God asked the same question to you that he asked to Moses. What's in your hand? God is trying to get you to understand, I've already prepared you. I have already equipped you. I have already destined you to do something. But we begin to question God. And Moses tried to find excuses to get out of his destiny. But here's something for you. When God calls you, and every one of us have a destiny, you can't get out of it. You can run, you can stick, you can go 10 years later and you end up following your destiny. You can make excuses. You can move to the other side of the country, but your destiny follows you.
Amen.
You can make up every excuse. You can blame it on your family. You can blame it on, my mama didn't do this, my daddy didn't do this. So what? God says, I can use you exactly as you are. Matter of fact, all the stuff that you have been through is part of the equipping you so that you can follow your destiny. I need you with nothing in your hands so that you can trust me.
Amen.
I need you to understand who I am, that I'm greater than all of that. Are you willing to follow your destiny? Are you willing to work in your nothingness? Anybody in that place of nothingness?
Yeah.
That is where God says, I got something for you to do. Now, often it don't look like what we think it should look like. You think, well, I got a degree in this. And God says, yeah, but I need you over here.
Right.
Y'all know me. I thought for sure that I would have my own school now teaching martial arts and traveling the world doing seminars. Very well trained in it. Trained with one of the greatest people ever in martial arts. Yes. Got a 9th degree black belt. All of that. And God said, that was cute. That was nice. Then you finished. I said, well, I'm not finished. She said, I didn't ask you that. And I said, in the beginning, I thought, well, I'll start church and start my school at the same time. God said, those are your plans. Amen. But when I surrendered and realized that God's plans were not my plans, that I had to get my plans in line with God's plans, then everything started lining up. Everything started moving for me. Everything came into place. Make sure that your plans are God plans. Make sure that your destiny is lined up with God is calling you to do.
Amen.
And then you don't have to worry about what's in your hands. Because when God asks you the question, what's in your hands, you'll be able to look at your hands and go, these hands have brought me through every storm. These hands have brought me through every struggle.
Amen.
These hands have brought out some greatness in me that I didn't even know I had.
Amen.
These hands have equipped me, and I got these hands because God ordained it to be so.
Amen.
And you look at your own hands, and then you start realizing just how powerful you are.
Amen.
You look at your hands, and you start realizing my hands have equipped me for my destiny, and that I will do great things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Not some things, not most things, all things. Not part of the time or some of the time, but all of the time. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So every day you need to get up and you need to look in the mirror and you need to feel the light in the Christ in you shining so bright. Don't back down from anything and know I am equipped for today. Wherever God leads me, I'm equipped for today. Whatever comes in front of me, I am equipped for today. No matter who says something to me, I am equipped for today because I'm following God. I'm following what God has given me to do. Oh, I am equipped for today. What's in your hands? Everything that you need. What's in your hand? The control of your destiny. What's in your hand? Your life power's in your hand. What's in your hand? Are you willing to follow your destiny?
Amen. Amen.
Everybody, look at your hands. Look at your hands. The power's right there.
Yes.
Look at your hands. Those hands have brought you through every struggle. I want you to think of at least 3 struggles in your life. Those are the hands that brought you through. Look at those hands. They got you to here today. Look at those hands. God is telling you, I have placed everything. I left out nothing in your hands. All I need you to do is trust me. All I need you to do is trust me. Anybody trust God?
Yes.
Come on and give God praise. Trust God. Give God that praise. Clapping those hands saying, yes, I'm equipped with